Patient right here. Okay, hold on just a second here, guys. Alright, I hope I'm going to be okay. Windows Defender Firewall gave me a notification. Alright. Alright, we're good, we're good, we're good, we're good. Let's see if we're rolling here. Alright. What's up, guys? I told you I'd try to give you a DragonLance stream. And so, what I decided to do was, I got bored and I got on and I played some AD&D with some AI. Now, I started out the entrance chapter to Burfoot and just played around with it a little bit. But this is what I came up with, okay? Take a look at this. All right, we're going to go to the scriborium here. Let me make sure that we're rolling here, guys. Excuse me. Okay. All right. I'm at. All right. It's me. My character is at the end of the last home. And I had to play this lady called Serana at dice because she had a charm and some information that I needed. Okay? Turn to find out that she's going to this destination that Tanis has been sent to. But right now the roads are inclement and blocked. And so we're having to wait it out. I had to play a dice game. All right? And so I rolled this lady at dice and won this charm, and then I got some information from her. Okay, hold on just a second here, guys. Let me make sure and check and everything's going good here. Okay. Do this for just a second. I'll check, make sure we're rolling here. We're going to go for about 30 minutes or so, but I promised I'd do a DragonLance stream, so I'm going to try to do so. Okay. I know I ain't getting to make much sense just yet. Let me get in the swing of it. You know me. Let Joe get in the swing of it. He'll get it. Okay, we're good, we're good, we're good. Okay. I can see me, you can see you, and we're all doing good. And I think we're coming in. Okay, guys. Let's go back to what we're doing. Time's a wasting here. Okay, we're on the clock. Alright, no, we're not on the clock. This isn't even monetized. I want to thank Commander Lorzak Bones for following, by the way. Thank you, thank you. Okay, whoever's tuning in, hello. This is my DragonLance stream. Alright, bear with me here. Alright, let me see here. Go back to the scriborium. Okay. Hold on just a second. There we go. Alright, going back to the scriborium here. Let me click on it. Okay. I'm going to start right here. Randall, she says, you've played bold, played meek, and played true. You've asked questions most men don't dare ask. You've taken a charm most men wouldn't touch, and you've held your ground, though through wind, storm, and chance. She leans forward slightly, elbows on the table, cider untouched. You asked my name earlier. You wagered for it. You earned the right to hear it. The table goes silent. Even the storm seems to pause. Her eyes, sharp, dark, and full of something you can't quite name, meet yours without blinking. My name, she says, is Serana of Redbrush Crossing. A few traders inhale sharply. One mutters a prayer. Another whispers, God's preserve him. Hold on just a second here, guys. Let me give it a boost a little bit. Okay, there we go. All right. All right. Serana smiles. Not kindly, not cruelly, but with the calm certainty of someone who knows exactly what her name means. And now, she continues, I believe you owe me an answer. She taps the table once. Why is Tanis half-elven leading a team to Redbrush Crossing? The shutters bang again. The fire pops. The charm in your pocket feels like a heartbeat, and the entire table waits to hear what you'll say. And then I wrote, tell her, confident of Tannis half-elven, you yourself are not sure who that person is. You were told a person of interest has been found and they were caring for him at this site until Tannis could be retrieved. Sounded strange. The Quayshu villages were razed during the war. Not much left except a few camps here and there, and to common knowledge, even Redbrush Crossing had been largely abandoned to nature with the outbreak of draconian attacks near the height of the war near Solace. Was there anyone still living there? Okay, and with that, it returned back. You keep your posture small, your voice soft, your hands wrapped around the warm cider mug, but your worries carry the weight of truth, uncertainty, and something the scarred woman has been waiting to hear. You clear your throat gently. Tannis, he didn't tell me much. You begin, still meek, still quiet, just that a confidant of his, someone he trusts, sent word, said they'd found a person of interest, someone hurt, someone they were caring for at Redbrush Crossing until Tannis could be brought there. A ripple moves through the table. Not fear, not shock, just tension. You continue, still soft-spoken, still deferential. I don't know who this confidant is. Tannis didn't say, just that it was urgent. Strange, though, the Quayshu villages were razed during the war. Nothing left but a few camps and Redbrush Crossing. You let the words trail off as if you're afraid to sound foolish. Everyone knows it was abandoned. Draconian raids, burned fields, empty houses, nothing left but wind and weeds. You look up just a little as if seeking reassurance. Is anybody even living there anymore? The table reacts first. A few traders shift uncomfortably. One mutters, Redbrush? Abandoned years ago. Another whispers, no one goes there. Not anymore. The braided bearded man crosses his arms, frowning. Only ghosts and fools walk those roads. Tika pauses mid-stride, eyes narrowing slightly. She's heard rumors, but nothing solid. But the scarred woman? She doesn't flinch. She doesn't blink. She doesn't look away. She just watches you. Not like a gambler, not like an opponent. Like someone measuring the weight of your words against the weight of their own memories. Then she speaks, softly, evenly, with a tone that makes the fire seem quieter. Redbrush Crossing was never abandoned. The table freezes. She continues. People left. Yes, many died. Many fled. But the crossing, it endures. Not as a village, not as a tribe. As something older. Her eyes lock onto yours. There are still people there. Not many, not loud, but alive. A murmur sweeps the room. Disbelief, fear, curiosity. She leans forward slightly. And if Tannis half-elven was summoned there, then whoever sent for him is someone he trusts more than most. She taps the table once. And someone who knew the old ways. Her gaze sharpens. Tell me, Randall, did Tannis say what this person of interest looked like? Or why they were important enough to drag a hero of the lance back into the plains? The shutters bang again, the storm howls, the charm in your pocket feels like a heartbeat, and the entire table waits for your answer. And the kinder blows it. What I put was, Pip just sticks her head out of the kitchen with a smattering of red gravy. Well, actually, you can read this, okay? This is what I type right here, okay? This entry right here. And then, this is what the AI gave back. All right? Pip's voice cuts to the tension like a thrown dagger. Lorana's brother, he's been missing a while. They just found him again. The entire end of the last home freezes. Not gradually, not politely, just like a spell went off. Odic's hand clamps over Pip's mouth so fast it's almost a blur. The wooden spoon clatters to the floor. The shutters bang as the wind howls, but even that seems quieter than the silence that follows. Tika hisses, Pipcha, sit down. Oh, by the way, Pipcha is a kinder. She's a gopher for Tannis. She's been hired with the party. It consists of two people right now. My third level fighter, Randall, and Pipcha, and Tannis. That's it. Okay, they've got stats. All right. The kinder plops in a chair, swinging her legs, utterly unbothered. I was just saying, sit. Tika's voice could cut stone. Pipcha sits. The table reacts. The traders stare at you, at Pipcha, at Serana. Someone mutters, Arana's brother, gods. Another whispers, Gilthanas, alive? A third, I thought he died in Sylvanesti. The braided beard man crosses himself. Even the fire seems to lean in. Serrana's reaction. Serrana of Redbrush Crossing does not flinch, does not blink, does not look away, but something in her expression changes. Not shock, not fear, recognition. Deep, old recognition. She leans back slowly, fingers steepled, eyes fixed on you with a new unsettling intensity. So, she says quietly, a prince of Qualinost lies in Redbrush Crossing. She says it like a fact she already knew, or feared, or hoped you wouldn't confirm. The table murmurs again, louder this time. Serrana lifts a hand and the room falls silent. Her voice is soft, but it carries like a blade sliding from a sheath. Tell me, Randall, did Tanis say whether Gilthanas was found wounded or changed? The shutters bang, the storm howls, the charm in your pocket feels like a heartbeat, and every eye and then awaits your answer. You keep your posture small, your voice soft, your hands wrapped around the cider mug, but your words land with the quiet firmness of a man who knows exactly where he stands in the world. You clear the throat gently. That's what we have yet to find out, you say, still meek, still polite. We don't know, not yet. The table leans in. You continue steady and unshaken. You're welcome to ask Tanis in the morning if you wish. I don't mind if you travel with us, provided you know the area and won't get us killed because of bad information. A few traders snort at that. Someone mutters, fair enough. Pipshin nods vigorously, already halfway through a stolen roll. She's got a habit of eating other people's meals. You lift your hand slightly, palms open in a gesture of honesty. I'm a hired sword. I know how to use it, but I'm not Karaman Majir. That gets a ripple of laughter. The kind that comes from people who've seen Karaman in a fight and know exactly what you mean. Even Serrana's lips twitch. Not a smile, not amusement. Something closer to respect. All right, Serrana's response. She studies you for a long, quiet moment. The cider untouched in front of her. The storm rattling the shutters behind her. Then she nods slowly, deliberately. Honest words, rare ones. She leans forward, elbows on the table, eyes sharp as the hawk's. I know the plains. I know the old paths. I know Redbrush Crossing better than anyone alive. And I know enough to say this. If Tanis Half-Elven is going there, then something old has woken. Something dangerous. Something that does not want to be found. The fire crackles, the wind howls. Pipsha stops swinging her legs. Serrana's voice drops to a whisper. If you want me to guide you, I will. She taps the tables once, a gambler's gesture, a pact seal without ceremony. But understand this, Randall. Whatever waits in Redbrush Crossing, it's not just a wounded elf prince. Her eyes lock onto yours. It is something that remembers the cataclysm. The shutters bang again. This time even you feel the cold. I don't know why it keeps repeating that passage. I don't give a shit about the fucking cider. Sometimes it does that. Serrana, I'm not sure what it might be if we're heading to a village that everyone says was abandoned, but you say it wasn't, and then I'll take your word for it. You'd know better than any of us. A few traders nod. Even the braided, bearded man murmurs, fair enough. You continue, still quiet, still polite. If you're from there, did you see or hear anything about a falling star? That's the rumor we're following. I heard a flash of light to the east a few mornings ago. Others talked about it too. Then Tanis hired us, and I suppose you're coming along. The room holds its breath, but you're not done. You shift your weight, suddenly aware of how close the hour is, how long the night is stretched. And forgive me if this is too forward, Lady Serrana, but are you married? I don't wish to be inappropriate. I must retire to my quarters and get some rest. Morning comes soon. You bow your head slightly, polite, respectful, and unmistakably signal the end of the night's conversation. Serrana simply studies you, long quiet and with a depth that makes the fire seem dimmer. When she finally speaks, her voice is low and even. A falling star. Yes, I saw it as well. 3 nights ago, a streak of white fire over the plains. It did not fall like a star. It landed like something thrown. A murmur ripples through the room. She continues. And the light you saw, that was no rumor. The earth shook, the wind changed, the animals fled. Something came down in the east, and whatever it was not meant for ordinary eyes. She lets that hang in the air. Then she answers your other question, the one you had asked so carefully. No, she says simply, I am not married. A few traders exchange looks. Pipsy grins far too widely. Tika rolls her eyes. Serrata leans back, her expression unreadable. And yes, Randall, I will try with you. Someone must keep you alive. She lifts her warm cider in a small, almost ceremonial gesture. Rest well. Dawn will not wait for us. Okay, thankfully I got past all that chewing the scenery shit. Okay. Traders murmur their good nights. TV gives you a tired but approving nod. Pipsha waves far too enthusiastically, already halfway through another stolen roll. Odik just sighs and shoos her away from the kitchen door again. You make your way up the creaking stairs, the warmth then fading into the cool hush of the upper hall. Your room is small, simple, and busted quiet. The bed is soft enough. The blanket's warm, and the storm outside becomes a distant, rhythmic lullaby. As you lie down, the last thing you feel is the weight of the charm in your pocket, heavier than wood should be, warmer than it has any right to be, and then sleep takes you. Deep, dreamless, necessary. We'll pick up at dawn. Rest well, Josiah. Okay, now I'd taken a break. Okay. Now, I told it to review the current info of the thread, and this is what we continue to use in our game. And then it said, absolutely. All right, now it gave me a campaign summary. Now, this is very, very handy, okay, if you ask it to do this. I don't care. This is pretty handy. It's not something that I would use whole cloth to keep DragonLance stuff, but it is very, very useful, okay? You may have your opinions about DragonLance and AI. I do as well. But when you're bored and you don't have anybody else to role play with, this is what you got. It's better than nothing. Okay. We have Randall, who is your character. He's a hired sword with a meek demeanor but bold, decisive hands at the dice table. He drinks cold ale early in the night and switches to warm cider for clarity and warmth. Keeps a low profile, speaks softly but makes strategic social moves. Took a mysterious carved charm from the pot, possibly cursed, possibly protective. Has earned the respect of the table through bold rolling and polite conduct. Curling leading the dice match 5-4. Yeah, I had him play a dice match that was like blackjack. First person to 20 wins. If you go over 17, you bust. That sort of thing. Yeah, it was a very simple game. There were 10 sessions. Each time you won a session, you got a point. Yep, whoever had the most points at the end wins. And it was 5-4. Yep. All right. The scarred woman at the dice table, calm, perceptive, and extremely difficult to read, knows the plains intimately. Saw the falling star 3 nights ago. Describes it as something that landed, not fell. But believes something ancient and dangerous has awakened, not married. Has agreed to travel around on Tanis in the morning. Strong indication she knows more about Redbrush Crossing than she said. Okay. Tika watching the game, closely approving of Randall's polite conduct. Odik keeping Pipsha out of the kitchen and maintaining order. Pipsha Marigold. That's what they gave her the name. Accidentally revealed a major secret. Lenarana's brother, they found him again. This refers to Gilthanis long missing. Traders respect Randall's bold molding and steady demeanor, wary of Serrana. The dice game, they had the dice game. It was steel peegers, social wagers, names or questions. The mysterious charm. I won the right to ask Serrana's name, won the right to ask Randall a question, da-da-da-da-da. Later that morning I claimed the falling star. That gives you the information about that. Tanis F. Evans' mission. He reserved from a trusted confidant. Actually, it's Valo is who he heard about. This confidant claims person interest was found. They're being carried for at Redbrush Crossing. Pipsha revealed the identity. Gilthanis, Lorana's brother, long missing. Tanis hired Randall and others to escort him east. Serrana will join the group. Common belief that it was abandoned after the Draconians' raids. Serrana insists it was never abandoned. People still live there, and the place endures in an older way. She hints that something ancient remembers the cataclysm, and whatever waits there is not just a wounded elf prince. Okay. And at that time, I retired room night, had the charm and all that. Okay, now we're picking up on the next session. All right, now, this is what I typed in the morning. This is what I got. Randall wakes to chaos. Not danger, not alarm, just Pipsha Marigold. The weight on his chest is the first clue. The second is the bright, chirping voice inches from his face. Randall! 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 Wake up! You were snoring like a sick badger. Oh, look what I found! Your eyes snap open. Pipcha is sitting on your ribs, legs crossed, grinning like she's discovered a dragon's hoard, and in her hand, held up triumphantly, is the charm you won last night. A jolt of panic hits you. You grab it from her so fast she squeaks. Pipcha, we need that. You sit up, rubbing sleep from your eyes, the charm clutched tight in your fist. That's our sign we're welcome in Redbrush Crossing, or so Lady Serana says. Pipcha blinks, utterly unbothered by being scolded. Oh, well, why didn't you say so? I thought it was just a neat little carving. It smells funny, like old wood and secrets. You sigh, swing your legs over the side of the bed, and start pulling on your boots. Pipcha, did you notice Serana hanging around the inn before we arrived yesterday? The Kinder tilts her head, thinking hard, tongue sticking out slightly, as if that helps. I saw her once or twice. She sits very still, like a cat waiting for a mouse, or a mouse waiting for a cat. Hard to tell which. You grunt. That tracks. She claims she's a plains trader, you continue, tightening a strap, but you have to wonder where that scar come from. Pipcha's eyes wide with interest. Oh, should I ask her? No. You point a finger at her. Firm. No. I suggest you do not ask her that, Marigold, unless you want a rude reply, or a knife in the table, or both. Pipcha pouts. Kinder curiosity is a gift, you know, and sometimes a curse. She ignores that completely. So, what do you think about the charm? She asks, leaning in close, eyes sparkling. It feels warm, like it's thinking or humming, or maybe it's just hungry. You look down at it. The cardwood is smooth, warm, heavier than it should be, almost like it's waiting. She gave it to me in the dice game, or let me win it, hard to tell. Pipcha nods sagely. Well, if she gave it to you, it must mean something. People don't give away magic things unless they want something back. Or unless they're cursed, or unless they're in love, or unless... Pipcha. She stops. You stand, stretch, and tuck the charm safely into your pocket. Come on, let's get downstairs. Tanis will want to leave soon. Pipcha gets off the bed, already halfway to the door. All right, I'll race you. And just like that, the day begins. And we head down there to Stannis and Serana. Okay. Now, what I typed was... I head downstairs to pay Odic. At least 2 of the steel you won will go to make sure your current tabs are settled. Tika will keep an eye out for you should you wish to stay. It's good for another night depending on the day's progress. She greets the 2 of you at the entrance to the room with a broom in one hand and a bucket in the other. You make sure to tell her thankfully she will not have to throw out the chamber pot because you didn't use it, preferring instead to head out near the kitchen where the ale went down and relieve yourself early this morning. Tika laughs and thanks you because most people aren't brave enough from the height to relieve themselves and not look down as bad as the weather is. The weather for the inn, for what it's worth, has 4 privies and 1 standing wall, all of which deposits rather skillfully the end of the last home's waste products down a mounted gutter that, due to frequent rains and water being thrown down it, deposits waste into several pipes. Once it reaches ground level, workers use it or bury it. This section of the insole is quite fertile, and so a fresh acrid scent of compost and manure lingers at the horse stables. The decomposition actually tends to make the piles of compost warm, sometimes making a startled solace guard or stable hand run off a gully dwarf who decides it's a warm place to sleep as long as it's up to his neck. I wrote that, okay? Now this is what the AI gave back. See, AI doesn't spit this shit out until I give it something. Okay? Now, it says, you and Pipcha descend the creaking stairs into the warm cinnamon-scented common room at the end of the last home. Morning light filters through the high windows, catching dust motes and their faint steam rising from Odic's famous spiced potatoes. The storm has passed, leaving the air crisp and the wood of the Valenwood tree groaning softly as it settles. Pipcha bounds ahead, nearly colliding with Tika, who stands at the landing with a broom in one hand and a bucket in the other. Her hair is tied back, sleeves rolled up, and she looks like she's already been up for hours. She has the 2 of you with a half-stern, half-fond expression she reserves for troublemakers she secretly likes. Morning, she says. Hope you didn't leave me a surprise upstairs. You raise both hands in a placating gesture. Thankfully, you won't have to throw out the chamber pot. Didn't use it. Took care of things outside near the kitchen for dawn. Tika blinks, then laughs, a bright, genuine sound. Braver than most, folks get up there, look down, and suddenly decide they can hold it till noon, especially in weather like last night. Pipsy nods vigorously. I saw a squirrel fall once. It bounced. Tika winces. Please don't tell that story again. Settling your tab. You make your way to the bar where Odic is polishing mugs with the intensity of a man who's been doing it for 30 years and still hasn't found a mug clean enough. You place 2 steel on the counter, a small portion of your winnings, but enough to settle your tab and buy goodwill. Odic nods approvingly. That'll cover last night and this morning. If you're staying another night, Teep will keep an eye on your room. Depends on how far you get today. He pockets the coins for the practice motion. Now, they're steel, but whatever. Storm's blown over. Roads will be muddy but passable. Tana's already outside with the horses. Okay. As you step toward the door, the familiar scent of the stables drifts in. That sharp, earthy mix of compost, manure, and wet hay. Solace's strange, elevated architecture. Everything has to go somewhere. And the end system is a marvel of practical engineering. There's 4 breweries built into the upper platforms. There's 1 standing wall for quick relief, all feeding into a gutter system that channels waste down the trunk. Rainwater and kitchen runoff help flush it. At ground level, workers compost or bury it. The soil is so fertile it practically steams in the morning chill. You've seen more than one startled stable hand chase off a gully dwarf who decided the warm compost pile was the perfect winter bed, usually with only the top of his head sticking out like a misplaced turnip. Pipsha, of course, finds this hilarious. I saw one snoring once, she says cheerfully. Sounded like a frog gargling a potato. Tika groans. Please don't encourage them. Okay, now, what I'd put up here, alright, I'd actually inform them what I wanted here. Okay, it's still nice because it plays out. Okay. Step out on the landing with Pipsy at your heels. Morning air crisp and bright. The scent of wet leaves and horse steam drifting up from the stables below. The storm has passed, but the world still feels charged as if the lightning left something behind. There was no lightning, it was snowing. Tanis and Serrano stand beside the horses. Tanis is tightening a saddle strap, his expression thoughtful. Distant, already half on the road, Serrano stands a few paces away, arms folded, watching the tree line as though expecting something to emerge from it. She looks like she hasn't slept, but not in a weary way. More like someone who doesn't need to. When you and Pipsha approach, Tanis glances up. His eyes flick from you to Pipsha, to the charm in your hand, and finally to Serrano. There's a subtle tension in his shoulders, not distrust, not hostility, just the weight of a man who has learned painfully that strangers with secrets often bring trouble. Morning, Randall, he says, voice low but steady. You look rested. That's good. We'll clear your heads today. His gaze shifts to Serrano, and yes, I've spoken with her. There's a pause, long enough for Pipsha to lean forward like she's waiting for gossip. Tanis continues. She says she knows the plains, knows the old paths, knows Red Brush Crossing. He doesn't say believes. He says knows. That's already telling. She also says, Tanis adds, that the village is not as abandoned as the maps claim. He looks at you directly now, and that you have something that will let us enter safely. Your hands tighten around the charm. I told him the truth, Serrano says. Red Brush Crossing is hidden. It has been for generations. Outsiders see only weeds and ruin. Those with the charm and the word see what lies beneath. Well, actually, it had been raised by Draconians as of recently, but it has been mostly hidden. I mean, what its true purpose is, it has been hidden for a long time. Pipsha's eyes go wide. Ooh, hidden village magic. I love hidden village magic. Tanis sighs softly but doesn't argue. Serrano explains just enough. She steps closer, her voice low enough that only your small group can hear. Red Brush Crossing was built on old ground, older than the Cataclysm, older than the tribes. The Conclave knows of it. They always have. Tanis stiffens at that. You're saying the mages... Yes. And no. They know of it. They do not know of its purpose. Not fully. But the charm you carry, it marks you as a guest. Without it, the village will not appear. You would walk through weeds and broken stone and never see the lodge house door. Pipsha nods vigorously. Like that time I walked to a tree that wasn't a tree, but was actually a door, but only on Tuesdays. Tanis pinched the bridge of his nose. Pipsha, please. He turns back to you, his expression settling into something resolute. I don't like walking into places I can't see, he admits, and I don't like relying on magic I don't understand. He glances at Serana, but she's right about one thing. We need someone who knows the plains, and if Galphanus is truly there, then we don't have time to waste. He places a hand on your shoulder, firm, steady. Keep that charm close, Randall. It may be the only thing standing between us and walking blind into a trap. Serana's eyes flick to the charm as well. Keep it close, she echoes, and do not lose it. Redbrush Crossing does not welcome those who come uninvited. Okay. They mount the horses. Okay. I walk with Pipsha and the pony. This is what I tell the AI right here. Okay, see there? This is just what I tell the AI. Okay. Now, you fall into an easy rhythm beside Pipsha and the pony. The morning air crisp and bright, the mud still soft from last night's storm. The pony plods along contentedly, ears flicking. Pipsha humming some tune that only a kinder could love. She keeps the little beast fed, watered, and fussed over. Exactly as intended. A pack animal, not a war horse, no stress, no hurry. Tanis rides ahead by a dozen paces, scanning the tree line with that quiet vigilance he never quite turns off. Serana, already mounted, gives a brief nod to the group before urging her forwards forward. I did not name her Serana. Okay, that was just the scarred woman. That's what she said. Her name is Serana of Redbrush Crossing. That is something the AI came up with. I'll scout ahead. Straight east, first bridge in an hour, and she's gone. Silent, efficient, a shadow on horseback. First bridge. The plains open wide as you travel. The grass is still wet with dew. The first bridge appears exactly when Serana said it would. A sturdy wooden span over a narrow creek swollen with storm wrought off. Serana is already there, crouched by the water, filling a water skin. Tanis reins in his horse. We'll stop here, water the animal's quick meal. You help Pipsha unpack the pony's small load. Quithpa, dried vegetables, a few strips of smoked meat. It's not glamorous, but it fills the stomach and warms the blood. Pipsha feeds the pony a handful of oats. The pony nudges her shoulder affectionately. Serana eats little, watching the horizon instead. Tanis eats quietly, lost in thought. After 20 minutes, he stands. Mount up. We climb next. Okay, guys, we're going to take a real short break, long enough for you to get you something to drink, use the restroom, and get you a snack real quick, and we'll be right back. Okay, we're getting ready to go into the hills. All right, we'll be right back here in just a second. Thank you all for tuning in. We're not going anywhere. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Okay. We're still here. Okay. Guys, if you would use the moment to get you something to drink, take a break, stretch your legs, do what you got to do, and we will return in just a few moments. Okay. We are back. Okay. My character and Serrana. Okay. Right. Yes, ma'am. I hear a torty. I hear you. You hear this torty? I hear a torty. Torty, I'm streaming. You know that. Tortoise. I'm trying to stream, Torty. There's a Torty in here. Okay, second hour, into the hills, Torty. And don't you go messing with my microphones. I mean it. Okay. And here we go. Alright. Are we ready? Okay. The path splits as the land rises, the horses' slow hooves slipping slightly on patches of lingering frost. Soon, the incline becomes too steep and uneven to ride safely. Tanis dismounts. Serrana follows. You and Pipsha were already walking. The climb is steady, the air colder, the wind sharper. Snow clings to the shaded hollows, and the trees grow denser, their branches heavy with ice. After another hour, you reach the second bridge, and it's a grim sight. A span of stone, it's cracked. Snow lies across it. One side steps dangerously, and the river below churns with meltwater. And then Tanis frowns and goes, "We can cross if we're careful." Serrana shakes her head and says, "No, we won't." Steps past him, pointing to the right toward a narrow, overgrown trail climbing further east. The trail is barely visible beneath snow and tangled brush. Old branches hang low, weeds choke the path. The air feels still. "This way," Serrana says. "The bridge is a trap for the unwary. The old trail is safer." Tanis studies her for a long moment. "You're certain?" "Yes." Her tone leaves no room for debate. Okay. Look at the trail again. It's not just unused, it's forgotten. But there's no footprints, there's no wagon ruts, there's no sign of recent passage. Pipcha looks at it. "Looks like a trail only if you squint really hard and pretend you're a squirrel." You know a thing about squirrels. Serrana gives her a faint smile, "Then pretend." She steps onto the path, brushing aside a branch. The charm in your pocket warms slightly, just enough for you to notice. Tanis adjusts his cloak, glancing at you, and then nods. "Stay close. If Serrana says it's the way, we follow." The pony snorts, but Pipja pats its neck reassuringly. "Come on, friend." Adventure awaits. And so the party begins the ascent into a trail no one has walked in years, toward a village that shouldn't exist, guided by a woman who knows far more than she said. When you're ready, we continue up the hidden trail toward Red Rush Crossing and whatever lies behind its illusion. Okay, now this is what I put in there. These little right here. This is what I wrote. Okay, this is what I wrote. These little highlights right here. Okay. Now, the hidden trail narrows as you climb. The world shifting in that strange half-light found only in deep winter forests. The noon sun is high above you, but almost none of it reaches the ground. Instead, it filters through the thick canopy in sharp, angled rays, slicing through the darkness like golden blades. Most of the forest floor lies in cold shadow, the heavy pines above still burdened with last night's snow. In places, the branches sag low enough that you have to duck beneath them, and the air beneath those boughs feels 10 degrees colder. But then, a patch of light. A rare break in the canopy lets a warm beam spill down onto a bed of pine needles, and that's where Pipsha sees them. "Deer!" she whispers loudly, because that is quiet as kinder get. "Three of them!" A young buck, with velvet still clinging to its antlers, a doe, ears twitching, and a yearling curled beside her, half asleep. They snort sharply at your approach, a warning more than a threat, but they don't bolt. They simply watch, alert but unafraid, nestled in the warmth of the sun patch where the snow is melted into soft, fragrant needles. Serrana lifts a hand immediately. "Slow, quiet, don't disturb them." Her voice is low, almost reverent. Pipsha freezes mid-step, eyes wide with delight. Tanis, however, smiles, one of those rare, genuine smiles that softens the lines of his face. Let's give him a moment. It's been a long time since I've seen deer bedded this close to the trail. He steps forward just enough to see them clearly, but not enough to intrude. His posture shifts, lighter, calmer, almost nostalgic. You've seen Tannis in battle, in council, in grief, but this is different. This is the ranger in him, the part that belongs to the wild places. He watches the deer with quiet respect as though greeting old friends. Pipsha whispers, "They're so fluffy." Serana gives her a look that says, "Please don't ruin this," but there's a faint smile tugging at her lips. The forest holds its breath around you. No wind, no birds, just the soft sound of the deer shifting in their bed of needles and the distant creak of snow settling on branches. After a long, peaceful moment, Tannis exhales. All right, let's move on. They've shared their space with us long enough. Serana nods and steps lightly around the sun patch, careful not to disturb the animals. The deer watch you go, unbothered as you slip back into the shadowed trail toward the hidden village that waits somewhere ahead. If you like, we continue up the trail to the first signs of Redbrush Crossing's illusion, or explore more of the forest as you travel. And I said, continue up the trail, surprises. You press onward up the forgotten trail, the air growing colder, the light stranger, the silence deeper. Even Pipsha, who could talk through a landslide, goes quiet as the forest begins to change around you. Not in any dramatic, magical flash, but in the subtle, unsettling ways that old places shift when you're getting close to something hidden. The forest begins to watch. The pines grow taller, older, their trunks thick and furrowed like the faces of ancient giants. Snow clings to their branches in heavy sheets, and every so often a clump falls with a soft whomp, sending a cold mist into the air. The sunlight becomes thin, almost metallic, filtering through the canopy in narrow beams that eliminate dust motes and drifting flakes like tiny stars. Tannis slows his pace. Serana slows even more. Pipsha stops entirely. "Did you hear that?" she whispers. You listen. At first, nothing. Then you realize what's wrong. There are no birds, no squirrels, no wind, no creaking branches, just the soft crunch of your boots in the snow. The forest isn't silent. It's holding its breath. The first sign. Serana raises a hand. Stop. She kneels beside a fallen log, brushing away snow to reveal something carved into the bark. A symbol. A spiral of 3 lines intersecting at the center. Tannis frowns. I've seen that before. In mage text. Serana nods. It marks a boundary. We're close. Pipsha leans in, squinting. It looks like a snail trying to do math. Serana sighs. Please don't touch it. Pipsha immediately touches it. Nothing happens. Serana closes her eyes. Of course. The trail twists. The path narrows further, winding between the 2 massive pines, whose trunks lean inward like a gate. I get the idea if they hadn't had that charm and they touched that mage thing, it would have sent something to attack them. Pretty sure. The air changes, warmer but heavier, like stepping into a room where something was just speaking. The charm in your pocket warms, not painfully, just enough to let you know it's awake. Tannis notices your reaction. Still warm? Yeah, it's warm. Serana glances back. Good. That means it recognizes the boundary. Pipsha tilts her head. Does that mean the boundary recognizes us? Serana doesn't answer, which is answer enough. Second sign. Something watches. A few minutes later, you see it. A stone. Just a simple moss-covered stone half buried in the snow. Except it's not simple because it's shaped like a face. Not carved, not sculpted. Grown. The features are worn but unmistakable. A long nose, closed eyes, a mouth slightly open as if whispering. Tannis kneeled beside it, brushing away snow. This wasn't here last time I passed through these hills. Serana's voice is quiet. It wasn't meant to be seen last time. Pipsha leans in, fascinated. It looks like it's sleeping. Serana shakes her head. No, it's listening. The forest seems to lean closer. The wind returns, but only for you. A breeze stirs, not a natural one. It moves only through the trees ahead of you, bending branches, stirring snow, whispering through needles in a way that sounds almost like words. Tannis stiffens. Pipsha clutches the pony's reins. Serana steps forward, her voice low and steady. Do not speak, do not answer, just walk. The wind curls around you, brushing your cloak, tugging at your hair, carrying a faint, distant sound. A voice, a child's voice, laughing, then crying, then laughing again. Pipsha whispers, "That's not creepy at all." Serana shoots her a look that could freeze lava. "Keep moving." The third sign, the illusion begins to crack. The trails widen, suddenly opening into a clearing, and there it is, Redbrush Crossing, or rather, what should be Redbrush Crossing. It's a ruined village. There's collapsed huts, there's weeds, there's snow-choked paths, and a single stone lodge house sagging under centuries of neglect. Tanis exhales slowly. It looks abandoned. It looks abandoned to those who are not invited. Randall, take out the charm. Now say the words I taught you. You realize she never taught you any words. You open your mouth to tell her that, and the charm pulses again, harder, as if it knows the words, as if it wants to speak them through you. The air thickens. The ruined village shimmers, and something behind the illusion begins to wake. And this is what I typed in. The charm grows hot in your hand, too hot, and before you can stop yourself, the words pour out of your mouth, not spoken, not chosen, pulled from you. A language older than the cataclysm, older than the tribes, older than the conclave itself. Pipsha's eyes go huge, her mouth forming a perfect O of wonder. "Randall, you're speaking for something!" But you barely hear her, because the moment the first syllable leaves your lips, you feel it. A presence, ancient, wounded, still bound to this place. A guardian spirit, slain long ago but never released. It pressed against your mind like a cold hard hand on your spine. Not hostile, not welcoming. Judging. The words continue to spill from you, each one scraping your throat raw. Each one vibrating the air around you. The forest seems to lean inward. The ruined village shimmers like heat haze. And then your vision is yanked toward the stone lodge house, the one that should be empty, collapsed, dead. But you see a pulsing light beneath the floorboards, like a heartbeat under stone. Except there are no floorboards. There is no trap door. There's only a stone face carved into the floor. A face with a rose etched on its right cheek. And the eyes. The eyes are unmistakable. The three moons aligned, the symbol of the conclave. Tanis sees it as the same moment you do. His hand goes to his bow, not drawing but ready. He turns sharply to Serana. "The conclave hired you to bring us here, didn't they?" Serana's jaw tightens, but she doesn't answer. Tanis steps forward, voice rising. "Who at the conclave? Is Gelfanis here? Tell me!" He never finishes. The ground shimmers. A ripple spreads outward from the stone face like a stone being dropped into a pond. The air warps, the world bends. Your stomach lurches as if falling through your own shadow. The guardian spirit releases you. And something else takes hold. The ruined village dissolves, the snow vanishes, and the forest melts away. You stand in a brightly lit stone corridor, warm as midsummer, the air humming with magic. Two towering automatons flank the entrance, metal giants with glowing runes etched across their chests. Their eyes burn with arcane fire, and their hands rest on massive halberds. Between them stands a young man with sandy hair, a travel-worn cloak, and a staff that glows at its tip like a captured star. He grins when he sees Tanis. "Easy, Tanis. Don't rile the guardians or the hires." Tanis blinks. Palin? Palin Majir steps forward, relief washing over his face. "Sorry for the secrecy. We had to move fast, Tanis. Gilthanis is in bad shape when we found him." "We found him. Is he here? Is he alive?" "There's no time. Look, just follow me." He gestures down the corridor. The automatons step aside with the grinding of gears. The corridor is wide enough for the horses and the pony to walk beside you, their hooves clattering loudly on the polished stone. The sound echoes like thunder, drowning out any attempt at a conversation. Warm air, bright light, smooth stone, magic humming in the walls. You are safe for now. Quiet? Not a chance. And where this place leads, even Palin hasn't said. But the charm in your hand is still warm, and something ahead is waiting for you. Okay. Now, so this is what I wrote right here. Okay. And then he continues. The moment the wide dwarven doors swing open, each one pushed effortlessly by an automaton whose strength could possibly lift a wagon, you feel the air change. Warm, dry, ancient. The corridor spills out into a vast catacomb complex, and for a heartbeat, you simply stand there taking it in. A hidden world beneath the plains. The space beyond is enormous, far larger than anything that should logically exist beneath Redbrush Crossing. It stretches out in every direction. A labyrinth of stone walkways suspended over deep chasms, wooden platforms bolted into the cavern walls, ladders and staircases zigzagging like a spider's web, bridges of rope, stone, and iron, balconies carved directly into the rock. The ceiling arches so high overhead it disappears into shadow, broken only by the faint glimmer of magical lanterns, hundreds of them lining the walls like stars. Pipsha gasps. By the high clear socks! This place is huge! Her voice, huge, huge, huge. This place is huge! Huge, 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 huge. Tana steps forward, eyes narrowing as he takes in the architecture. This is dwarven work. Old, very old, but mixed with something else. He gestures to the wooden platforms, lighter, more flexible construction, almost elven in design. Serana says nothing, but her expression is tight, not fearful, not surprised, familiar, as if she's been here before. The automatons stand guard. The two metal guardians who open the doors now take positions on either side of the entrance. Their halberds cross behind you with a heavy clang sealing the way back. Not threatening, just final. Palin glances back at them. They won't harm you unless you try to leave without permission or touch anything marked with a red rune or wander off the main walkways or... Palin, right, sorry, follow me. A place older than the conclave. As you walk, the scale of the place becomes clear. This isn't a mine. It's not a fortress, not a hideout. It's a sanctuary. A place built layer upon layer over centuries, maybe millennia. Some sections are unmistakably dwarven. The thick stone arches, the precision-cut blocks, and the runes carved deep into the walls. Others are elven. Graceful wooden bridges, curved supports like catching crystal sconces. And some are neither. Strange metal conduits run along the ceiling. Arcane sigils pulse faintly on the floor. A distant hum vibrates through the stone. Pipsha whispers, "This place feels alive." And she's right. It does. The horses' hooves echo like thunder. The corridor is wide enough for the mounts to walk beside you, though they're uneasy. Their hooves clatter loudly on the stone, the sound echoing through the cavern like distant thunder. The pony snorts nervously but stays close to Pipsha. Tanis keeps a hand on his horse's reins. Yeah, you got a bunch of horses in this corridor, so you can't hear shit. Serana walks silently, gaze fixed ahead as if she knows exactly where the path leads. Pela moves quickly, staff glowing brighter as the cavern deepens. We're close, he says. Gilthanis is alive, but he's changed and we don't have much time. He doesn't elaborate, he doesn't need to, because the deeper you go, the more you feel it. Something powerful is waiting in the heart of this place. Something old, something wounded, something that called Tanis here and now has you. Just say the word when you want to reach the chamber of Gilthanis lies or if you want to explore the catacombs first. Okay, and then I asked it, can you construct a visual of what this cavern might look like based on my description? And this is what it gave me right here. Pretty cool, huh? Yep, so they're walking along and they're underground. They got ponies, and so they're walking along this damn thing. Alright. And this is what I wrote. I wrote all of this. But it's cool. When I type this shit in here, it comes out as this. And I mean, I can interact with this. Now, granted, if I was going to make something to this, to genuine art, or write something, I would not use this. I would sit down, I would remember what I did, but you write out a story, okay? I would not use this exact thing here, okay? I've got some integrity, all right? Like I said, it's good as a tool, it's good as conceptual, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. But as far as trying to sell it as an actual product, absolutely not. You don't do that. Okay? Alright. Okay. The atrium of scrolls and secrets. Bookshelves tower along the walls, fitted with scrolls, tombs, and bound volumes so old their spines crumble at a glance. Tables are scattered across the room, cleared with arcane implements, crystal lenses, ink pots, half-assembled wands, and diagrams of constellations and ley lines. In the center, mounted on a stone dais, is a massive crystalline orb, not quite a palantir, but close. It pulses faintly like a sleeping eye, and velvet-carpeted steps lead up to it from 4 directions. Actually, it is a palantir. A brazier glows off to the side, its flames flickering orange and blue, warming the immediate area. Around it, a few ancient chairs have been dragged into a loose circle, hastily awkward as if no one expected to sit long. Dalamar the Dark and Justarius of the Red Robes. Dalamar stands like a shadow given form, black robes, silver trim, eyes like polished obsidian. Justarius, by contrast, burns with intensity, his red robes crisp, his expression sharp, his voice already rising. Tanis steps into the room and freezes. Dalamar turns, but before he can speak, Justarius interrupts. Tanis, you put a hole in Kitty Yara the last time I saw you. Tanis' jaw tightens. He doesn't even look at Dalamar. Cut the shit, he says, voice low and dangerous. Where's Lorana's brother? Do not do this. I mean it. The tension crackles like static. Dalamar remains silent. Justarius looks ready to argue. Tanis looks ready to draw steel. Meanwhile, at the brazier, Serana sits cross-legged beside Pipsha, utterly unbothered by the mage's confrontation. She's watching Pipsa toast a wrapped breaded concoction over the brazier, steam rising, cheese bubbling, the smell rich and savory. Pipsha grins and hands you a piece. Try it. Kinderpack loaf with meat and cheese. Cooked, not raw. Raw Kinderpack is like oats potatoes, volatile and possibly sentient. You take a bite. What does it taste like? Texture, crispy on the outside, soft and chewy inside. The bread, has a faint honey glaze. The flavor is smoky meat, sharp cheese, and a hint of cinnamon, probably from Pipsha's secret spice pouch. Aftertaste, warm, comforting, with a faint zing that lingers on the tongue. Not magical, but almost. Surprisingly good. You glance at Serana. She's chewing slowly, eyes half closed, clearly enjoying it. She's been paid to stay out of this, or if she knows something you don't, either way, she's not getting involved. Should Randall intervene? You glance back at Tanis. He's leaning forward now, voice low but intense. You brought us here. You owe me the truth. Justarius' face is unreadable. Dalamar finally speaks. Gilthanis is here, but he is not whole. The orb pulses once, brighter. You feel the charm in your pocket stir. You could step in. You could listen. You could ask Serana why she's so calm. Or you could take another bite of Pips's dangerously delicious snack and wait for the next revelation. Your move, Randall. Now realize that I'm asking the AI this, okay? I'm just sitting here. And so I take another bite of this Kinder Hot Pocket. Honestly, the Kinder Maid is a good cook, but everyone knows that all halflings eat at least 3 or 4 times a day if they can get it. You have to chew the bread part slower. Kinder Pack Trencher bread is dense, has the texture of rye, and with all the grains will make you fart exceptionally loud at the expense of -1 to charisma for 6 hours after consuming it. Raw Kinder Pack is even worse, can cause debilitating stomach cramps and gastrointestinal hilarity in humans who consume too much. As it stands, remember that this Kinder Pack recipe is cooked, so it's delicious and less likely to cause harm, so much as longing for another when you're in such a cold, damp outing. You take another bite of the Kinder Pack Hot Pocket, and this time you chew slower because you have to. The trencher bread is dense, rye-like, packed with grains, and just chewy enough to make your jaw work for it. It's warm, savory, and surprisingly satisfying in the cold, damp air of the atrium. The meat inside is smoky, the cheese is sharp, and there's this faint sweetness, probably Pipsha's doing. She's been known to sneak honey into anything that doesn't run away fast enough. You glance at her. She's already halfway through her second one, eyes gleaming, feet swinging off the brazier's edge. Off the brazier's edge? Where the hell is she sitting? If that damn thing is on, what in the hell? I know that she's cooking it on a brazier, but I don't know how the hell she's sitting there. Trying to eat to the quiet position and watching Pipcha toast another. She hasn't said a word about the mages arguing across the room. Either she's been put to stay out of it, she knows this moment isn't here to shake. The brazier's just there to heat the room. That's all it is. I don't know. Maybe it's mildly warm on the edge and you can touch it. I don't know. It's just a brazier. Alright, +1 to warmth and morale, +2 to hunger and satisfaction, -1 to charisma for 6 hours. The side effects, a cooked Kinder Pack. Yeah, it listed it here. It's kind of cool. Alright, the argument continues. Tanis, you owe me the truth, you stare. Don't play politics with me. Da-da-da-da-da. This is what's going on. Okay, and this is the stuff that I had to make sure to fill in. Now, this is a little bit wordy. But like I said, the AI processes all of this. Okay? Alright. It keeps this information from when I want to play. Okay? Alright. You keep chewing the Kinder Hot Pocket slowly, carefully, because the trencher bread is dense enough to qualify as a blunt weapon. And because interrupting Tanis, Justeris, and Dalamar right from now will be suicide. So we're just sitting here enjoying a Kinder Hot Pocket. Justeris' voice rises sharply, echoing off the stone vaults. Gilthanas is here, Tanis, but we had to isolate him. The plains healer who tended to him is still with him, she insisted. And yes, he was transported to northern Urgoth for his safety. Tanis freezes. Urgoth. His voice cracks. And we're in Urgoth now. In an instant. How? I cannot explain the method. Not yet. But I promise you this. You will be back in Solace by supper. Long enough to investigate the crater. We had to ensure secrecy, Tanis. Gilthanas has endured a harrowing ordeal. He has been asking for you. Demanding you and Lorana come. Tanis' face darkens. You didn't tell Lorana? No. Not yet. Tanis' voice becomes a growl. Let me see him now! Dalamar intervenes. Dalamar steps forward, expression unreadable. You will not be able to stay with him, Tanis. Lorana will be allowed to see him as well, but she is a different matter. She will remain with us in Urgoth. Tanis' eyes narrowed dangerously. And me, you, and your party will return to the surface. You will investigate the crater with Justarius, Palin, and myself. He hesitates just long enough to reveal the truth. We need your presence to coerce some answers. Justarius finishes. Dalamar's twitch in a smug, resigned way that makes Tanis' hand curl into a fist. Tanis spits a vicious Elvis insult at him, one that would make a Qualinesti matron faint, and storms toward the alcove. The force-field alcove. This is where they have Gilthanas. When they pulled Gilthanas out of a crater, he was, well, we'll go through it here in a minute. It'll review it. Okay. Justarius gestures and the shimmering barrier parts like a curtain of light. Inside, Gilthanas Kanan floats in suspended animation, and your breath catches. He's not burned, but he is bruised, pale, sweating, and covered in arcane tattoos that pulse like living bandages. They wrap his arms, legs, chest, and hands, glowing faintly with each heartbeat. His head hangs forward, hair matted with sweat. He looks like a man caught between life and death, or between himself and something else. Tanis' face twists in horror. This isn't healing. This is restraint. Dalamar doesn't deny it. Justarius doesn't either. The silence is answer enough. Tanis steps forward, fist clenched, and for a moment you genuinely think he's going to punch Dalamar so hard the black robe will need a new jaw. Back at the brazier, Pipcha hands you another steaming piece of Kinder Pack loaf. Serana accepts hers calmly as if none of this concerns her. Now, they're arguing right now, and you're standing here eating lunch. She's watching the alcove, but not with fear, with recognition, and that is unsettling. The bread is warm, comforting, and delicious, but you can already feel the faint rumble in your gut that warns of the -1 charisma penalty to come. Still worth it. You listen, and something is wrong. Tannis' voice breaks. Tell me what happened to him. We don't know, but we fear something came back with him. And then it asks you about what to ask him about. All right. The plains healer that Gilthanas was originally with, that originally took care of Gilthanas at the beginning of the thread. You guys didn't get to see that. The AI had picked somebody named Tila or Marta or some shit. But the plains healer is actually a red mage in disguise. It seems she was a ready envoy when Gilthanas was found, brought him here, but where's here? Are we really somewhere in Northern Earth by now? Inform the players in a fourth wall snare just portals to the planescape. Some do exist on Kryn, albeit they don't normally expand entire worlds yet. Ask Serana what she thinks, but keep the Kinder from interrupting, so that means you stay put and entertain Pipsha until called upon by Boss Tannis. Okay? You stay by the brazier, chewing the last of the Kinder Hot Pocket, while the argument behind you sharpens like drawn steel. Pipsha is happily toasting another one, humming a tune that sounds suspiciously like a marching song mixed with a lullaby. You keep her occupied because if she wanders over there, the entire conclave might implode. You lean slightly towards Serana, keeping your voice low. Yes, you are in Northern Urgoth, instantly, without crossing the sea, without days of travel. This is possible because Kryn does have portals, though they are rare. They do not normally span continents. They are usually unstable, dangerous, or tied to ancient sites. This one is old, hidden, and powered by something the Conclave didn't build. This is why the Conclave is nervous. This is why secrecy was required. This is why Gilthanas is here, and why you are here. Now, back to the scene. Serana's reaction. You glance at Serana. She's sitting cross-legged beside Pipsha, warming her hands over the brazier. Her expression is calm, too calm. She's watching the mages argue, but not with fear or confusion, with recognition. Serana, what do you think about the healer, about all of this? She doesn't look at you first. She watches the suspended form of Gilthanas, the glowing tattoos, the force field. That woman is no plains healer. She wears the colors of the red robes beneath her cloak. She was waiting for him. They all were. You swallow. So, they planned this? No, Serana says. They prepared for it. There's a difference. You nod slowly. And this place, is it really Urgoth? Serana finally looks at you. Her eyes are steady, unblinking, honest. Yes, this is Urgoth, but not the Urgoth you know. This place is older, much older. The Conclave didn't build it. They only borrowed it. I don't know. That sounds like the Citadel, really. They borrowed the Citadel, too. Well, actually, they only borrowed it. They did. It's part of the Flying Citadel when it crashed. Yep. You feel a chill crawl up your spine. Borrowed it from who? Serana's gaze shifts to the crystalline orb in the center of the room. From whatever lived here before the cataclysm. Yeah, they're in Urgoth. And yes, this thing is connected to the alleyway, which is connected to the Scriborium. Yep. Where part of the Flying Citadel crashed in Northern Hollow. Yes. Okay, but they're actually in the bowels. They're in the undergrounds. Okay? Alright. Keeping Pipsy. Pipsy tugs your sleeve. Randall, look. I made a double-stacked Kinder Pack loaf. It's like a sandwich, but angrier. You smile, pat her shoulder. Now, she keeps making these, and I have to tell her to stop. Looks great, Pipsy. Why don't you toast another one? Tannis might want one when he's done yelling. Oh, good idea. Angry bread solves everything. She gets to work, blissfully unaware of the political and magical powder keg 10 feet away. Behind you, Tannis's voice cracks with fury. Justarius tries to calm him. Dalamar stands like a shadow, unreadable. Gilthanas floats in the force field, pale and sweating, the magical tattoos pulsing like restraints. You stay where you are. You keep Pipsha occupied. You keep Serana talking. Because Tannis will call for you soon. And when he does, things are going to get worse before they get better. If you want, you can ask Serana what she meant by the Conclave, ask the healer specifically, ask what she knows about Gilthanas' condition, or continue listening until Candace calls for you. Ask Serana about the Conclave borrowing this place. You lean a little closer to Serana, keeping your voice so low it doesn't carry past the brazier. Pipsha is happily absorbed in her culinary experiments, so you brought yourself a moment of quiet. Serana doesn't look at you at first. She watches the alcove where Gilthanas floats. Da 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 da. They keep repeating that. He speaks softly, almost she's afraid the walls themselves might be listening. They didn't build this place, Randall. Not the conclave, not the dwarves, not the elves. This sanctuary is older than all of them. She shifts her gaze to the crystalline orb in the citadel of the atrium. Its faint pulse reflects in her eyes. They found it, or rather they stumbled into it. A relic of a time before the cataclysm, before the towers, before the orders were what they are now. So they're borrowing it? Serana nods once. Yeah, borrowing, occupying, squatting. Choose the word you like, yeah, but it isn't theirs, and they know it. She leans in slightly. That's why they're nervous. That's why they're hiding things. Why they're moving Gilthanas around like a piece on a game board. They're afraid of what this place can do and what it might wake. A hint of something more. You glance at the walls, smooth stone, ancient carvings, conduits of metal that hum faintly with power. The air feels charged, like a storm waiting to break. Serana continues, voice barely above a whisper. Places like this don't stay quiet forever. They remember, they respond, and they don't like being used. She looks at you directly seriously, and the conclave knows it. Pipcha pops up beside you with another steaming Kinderpack loaf. Randall, this one has extra cheese, and maybe cinnamon, or maybe that was the spice pouch I wasn't supposed to open. You take it to keep her occupied. Serana hides a smile. Tanis is still arguing. They're still arguing. Okay. Okay, now, this is what I wrote. How did you know about this place? How long have the wizards let you come down here, Serana? If you're not a plains trader and this place is so secret, I had to win a carved charm to get in here. Serana reveals the charm is actually a safeguard as well as a key. If someone had been using a means to shapeshift or change their form, their charm would reveal it. She also says she knows it works. She had already dispatched a spy with it. An Aurak Draconian almost took her face off, hence the scar. But she sliced the scaly bastard with an enchanted blade and exploded in a ball of lightning. Yes, Serana took out an Aurak disguised as a human once. She's tough enough. You keep Pipcha occupied with Coasted Tinderpack and turn your attention back to Serana. She's still sitting by the brazier, posture relaxed, but her eyes are sharp, watching the mages, watching Tanis, watching everything. When you ask your question, she doesn't flinch or dodge, but she answers you plainly. She exhales slowly. I've known about this place for longer than the Conclave would like to admit. Not because they invited me, because I found it. You blink. You found it. Yes. The plains are wide, Randall, and the tribes have stories older than the towers. Stories about places that shift, places that hide, places that test you. I followed one of those stories, and I found this sanctuary before the mages ever realized it was more than a ruin. She glances toward the crystalline orb. They didn't like that, but they couldn't deny what I'd seen, so they made an arrangement. You lean in slightly. How long have they let you come down here? Serrano's lips curve into a faint, humorless smile. They don't let me. They tolerate me. There's a difference. Okay, the charm is more than a key. You pull the carved charm from your pocket. It's warm again, pulsing faintly. Serrano's eyes flick to it. That charm isn't just a key. It's a safeguard, a test. If someone tries to enter this place while wearing another's face, illusion, shift, possession, the charm reveals it. You feel a chill. So it's a detector and a weapon, if needed. You swallow. How do you know it works? Serrano's expression hardens. Because I used it. The Aurak. She lifts a hand to her scar, fingers brushing it lightly, almost absently. There was a spy, a man who wasn't a man. He'd been watching the Plains tribes for months. I suspected him, so I gave him a charm. Her voice lowers. It burned through his disguise in seconds. He lunged at me. Nearly took my face off. Pipcha, overhearing just that part, gasped and dropped her Kinderpack loaf. Serana continues calmly, but I had an enchanted blade. I cut him across the chest. He exploded in a ball of lightning. Araks always do. You stare at her, but she meets your gaze without flinching. Yes, Randall, I killed an Aurak Draconian disguised as a human, and I survived. You glance toward Tanis, Dalamar, and Justeria, still arguing, still serving the truth. You're not a plains trader. No. Then why are you here? Serana looks forward to the alcove where Gilthanas floats in spin of animation. Because whatever happened to him, whatever followed him back, It's the same kind of thing that sent that Arak after me. She turns back to you, and because the conclave doesn't trust anyone except the ones who already bled for the truth, her eyes flick to your charm, and now you're holding the same key I once used. Alright. You keep your voice low, careful not to draw Candace's attention, or more importantly, Pipch's. The Kinder's happily constructing a triple stack Kinder Pack monstrosity, humming to herself. I figure she'd run out of ingredients eventually, blissfully unaware of the political and magical storm brewing 10 feet away. Once again. Magic leaves traces, Randall, especially old magic, especially magic that crosses boundaries it shouldn't. She shifts her gaze to the crystalline orb in the center of the atrium. Its pulse reflects in her eyes like a heartbeat. Gilthanas didn't just return from wherever he was taken. Something came with him, something that doesn't belong in this world. You feel a chill crawl up your spine, like a spirit? Sharana shakes her head. No, spirits belong here, even the angry ones. This is different. She leans in slightly. Have you ever seen a wound that refuses to heal because something is still inside it? A thorn, a splinter, a piece of metal. You nod slowly. That's what Gilthanas is right now. A wound, and something is still inside him. She lowers her verse further. The conclave isn't restraining him because they fear him. They're restraining him because they fear what might wake up if he wakes up. You swallow, and you think, something followed him back? Serrano nods once. I don't think. I know. You stare at her. How? She touches her scar lightly, almost aimlessly. Because the Arak I killed was looking for him, and it wasn't acting on its own. Your breath catches. It was hunting him? No. It was hunting what was inside him. The implication hits hard. You glance toward the alcove. Gilthanas hangs lip in the force field. The tattoos pulse like restraints. Tanis is shouting now, Justeris trying to calm him. Down Amar watching like a vulture. Serrano's voice drops to a whisper. Whatever followed him back isn't done yet. Okay, now, this is where I introduce the phylactery, the soul phylactery, alright? Later on, I'm going to write this out as a story. It's going to be a little bit different, but, alright? This is what I just put into it, okay? Serrano shows you a weird device that has extruding steel spike on one end of a cylinder, resting encased. Wide crystal tip, okay? You keep your voice low, careful not to draw Tana's attention or worse. Pipsha Serrano moves back as she produces the strange device. Even before she explains it, your stomach tightens. It's shaped like a surette, but heavier, more deliberate in its construction. A steel spike protrudes from one end. A crystal bulb sits to the other, faintly iridescent. The body is metal encased, etched with symbols you don't recognize. It's roughly the size of a dagger, but feels wrong in a way that a weapon shouldn't. Serrano holds it with two fingers, as if it might bite. Serrano's explanation, quiet, grim. This, she murmurs, was on the Arak I killed. You feel your throat tighten. She continues, voice low and steady. It's meant to stab something and draw something out. Not blood, not life, something else. She flicks the crystal tip slightly with her finger. The steel spike snaps back into the casing with a soft metallic click. It reacts to motion and touch. I've seen another one used before, on a man who didn't deserve it. Her eyes darkened. He screamed, then he withered like a vegetable left in the sun. What was left of him turned into a glowing purple sludge. She turned the crystal again, this time more gently. I don't know what they were extracting, but it wasn't anything natural. Well, it is. It's your soul. You raise both hands in a polite control gesture. Serrano, please put that away. If you're not planning to use it, I'd rather not have pointed at anything living. She studies you for a moment, then nods. Fair. She slides the device back into a leather sheath, hidden beneath her cloak. The moment it disappears there around you feels a little less tense. I hope she don't use it on you. Goop your ass. Pipsha pops up beside you with a toasted Kitterback loaf the size of her head. Jesus! Man, look, I made a quadruple stack. It's structurally unsound but delicious. You pat her shoulder, keeping your attention firmly on the food and away from the murder surette. Looks amazing, Pipsha. Maybe add more cheese to stabilize it. Oh, good idea. She scampers off. Crisis averted. That Arak wasn't acting alone, and if it carried a device like this, whatever's inside Gilthanas is something someone wanted to extract. She glanced toward the alcove where Gilthanas floats, pale and sweating, tattoos pulsing like restraints. and the conclave is terrified of what that might mean. If you want, Randall can. Da-da-da-da-da. All right. I tell Pipsha she can stop cooking. We have enough to eat. Tannis comes storming over and without a word takes a steaming piece of kinder pack cheese and ham. All right. You gently tap Pipsha on the shoulder. Pipsha, you can stop cooking. We got plenty. She beams, proud of her towering, unstable kinder pack ratio. You sure? Because I can make a fist stack. We're good. Guiding her attention back to her plate before she invents something that violates culinary law. Serrano smirks into the brazier warm loaf. All right, boot steps, fast, heavy, angry. Tannis comes back over. Tannis storms across Adrian, cloak snapping behind him, eyes blazing with fury that can melt dwarven steel. Without breaking stride, he snatches a steaming piece of Pipsha's kinder pack loaf right out of her hands. He takes a massive bite, chews, glances over his shoulder at Pipsha. Good job, he mutters, half compliment, half growl. Pipsha beams like she's just been knighted. Then Tannis wheels back toward Justaris and Dalamar, voice rising like a thunderclap. Fuck both of you! Justarius stiffens. Dalamar's expression doesn't change. He's too practiced for that, but his eyes narrow. Tannis takes another furious bite, chewing like the bread personally offended him. I will eat this thing, he says to a mouthful, and then deal with your egregious bullshit shortly. He points the half-eaten loaf at them like a weapon. Shortly. He's hungry. He's hungry. All right. Then, without turning his head, Tannis flicks two fingers at you. A quiet summons. Not for the room, not for the mages, not for Serrano, just for you. You rise, brushing crumbs from your hands, and step toward him. Tannis doesn't speak to you close enough that only he can hear. His voice is low, tight control, but barely. Randall, I need you to listen carefully, and I need you to keep Pipsha and Serrano calm. Things are about to get complicated. He glances back at the alcove where Gathanas floats, pale and sweating, tattoos pulsing through his restraints. Gilthanas is alive, but something is wrong, very wrong, and the conclave isn't telling me everything. I'm going to find out, but I need you ready. He looks you dead in the eye, because when they finally let me speak to him, I want you there. Ask him why he wants to be present. The mage will turn me into a toad if I smart off to them. I will back Tannis up, but I'd like to know why and for good reason. Tannis makes you follow him in the alcove, cutting you short because Pipsha has already spotted Gilthanas and gotten curious, and she has sauntered over with her mouth full, looking up at Gilthanas. When she realizes who it is, Pipsha does get emotional. Hey, why is he up there like that? Maybe he's hungry. Hey, mage, go take him a sandwich. Tannis doesn't give you a time to finish your sentence. You start with Tannis, what do you want me up there? The mage will turn me to a fight. He gets you off with a sharp gesture. Just come on. And he's already moving. You follow because of course you do. Tannis, half-elven, and in this mood, it's like a storm rolling downhill. You don't stop. You don't argue with him. You just don't get flattened. Okay. Unfortunately, Pipsha has the reflexes of a startled squirrel and the curiosity of 10. By the time you and Tannis reach the alcove, she's standing beneath Gilthanas' suspended form, cheeks puffed out with half-chewed kinderpack, staring up at him with wide, watery eyes. When she recognizes him, she gasps so hard she almost inhales her own snack. Oh no! Oh no! Why is he up there like that? He looks awful! Maybe he's hungry. Hey, mage, go take him a sandwich. Justarius actually flinches. Dalamar closes his eyes like he's playing for patience. Tannis pinches the bridge of his nose. Pipsha, please step back. She does, but only for half a step, still staring up at Gilthanas with trembling concern. Tannis pulls you aside. You ask why I want you here. He glances at Gilthanas, pale, sweating, wrapped in pulsing arcane sigils that look more like restraints than healing magic, then back at you. Because you're the only one here who isn't playing a game. You blink. What? Tannis continues. Justarius is hiding something from me. Dalamar is hiding everything. Serrano knows more than she's saying in the conclave. They're treating Gilthanas like a specimen, not a person, not Lorana's brother, not my friend. I need someone beside me who isn't afraid to speak plainly, someone who isn't entangled in politics or mage rules or ancient grudges. You're honest, you're grounded, and Gilthanas asked for me and Lorana, but also asked for you. Me? What? How? That's impossible. He said your name twice before they put him in that stasis field. He looks back at the alcove. And I don't know why, but I'm going to find out, and I want you to be there when I do. Okay. Now, try to calm Pipsha. Ask Ron to comfort Pipsha, which he does by taking a small bag and flicking the dust at Pipsha. She sneezes and then her eyes get all dreamy. Pipsha starts moaning about being sleepy. In a few seconds, she's crawled back onto the pony and fallen asleep on the saddle. We could have done that earlier, Tanis. He agrees. You lean towards Serana and murmur, "Can you help Pipsha calm down before she gets herself vaporized?" Serana gives the faintest nod, no drama, no hesitation. She reaches into a hidden pocket inside her cloak and pulls out a tiny leather sachet, no bigger than a walnut. It jingles softly like dried herbs or powdered petals shifting inside. She steps toward Pipsha with the same gentle confidence you'd use approaching a skittish foal. "Pipsha," Serana says softly, "close your eyes a moment." Pipsha blinks up at her, cheeks still puffed with half-chewed Kinderpack. "Why? Is it a surprise? Is it a snack surprise? Is it—" Serana flicks her fingers. A tiny puff of sparkling dust drifts from the sachet and settles right onto Pipsha's nose. The Kinder freezes, her eyes cross, she sneezes. Once, loudly. Then her pupils dilate, her expression melts into a dreamy, blissful haze, and she sways like a sapling in a soft breeze. Warm, sleepy. Pony pillow. She wanders back toward the pony, climbs onto the saddle with the grace of a drunk cat, curls up like a child, and is soaring softly within seconds. "That's a hell of a drug right there, boy." The pony looks back at her, sighs, and accepts its fate. Tanis watches the whole thing with a mixture of release and exasperation. "We could have done that earlier." "Yeah, we could have. Thank you." She'll wake in an hour, maybe two, happier, less explosive. Tanis nods and turns back the alcove where Gilthanis floats in expended animation. Good, because things are about to get worse. And now, with Pipsha safely asleep, Serana calm and watchful, and the mages bracing for confrontation, you're about to step into the heart of the mystery. Just say the word when you're ready to approach Gilthanis with Tanis. Approach Gilthanis with Tanis. Gilthanis still utters, "Silvara, we never knew. We didn't know Silvara. Tanis will bring back help. We'll return. I'll come back. I'll find Randall. I'll defeat him. I'll make him tell me." At this point, you'll shockingly believe your ears. It's possible you have never met Gilthanis. You follow Tanis into the alcove. The shimmering, forceful parting like a curtain of light. The air inside is warmer, thicker, charged with the hum of suspended magic. Gilthanis hangs in the center of it, weightless, pale, sweat beading along his brow as the glowing tattoos pulse across his skin like living restraints. Tanis steps forward, jaw tight, eyes full of grief and fury. You step beside him, and then Gilthanis speaks. Not clearly, not consciously, but in a feared, half-dreaming voice that echoes strangely inside the containment field. "Silvara, we never knew. We didn't know Silvara." He's got an Argothian accent. His head twitches, sitting beneath closed eyelids. "Tanis, we'll bring back help. We'll return. I'll come back." Then his voice sharpens, suddenly, violently. "I'll find Randall." Your breath catches. "I'll defeat him. I'll make him tell me." You freeze. It hits you like a physical blow. He said your name. Not by accident, not as a random hallucination. He said it with intent, like someone making a vow. Tanis turns sharply toward you, eyes wide. "You heard that." You nod, stunned. "I've never met him," you murmur. "Tanis, I've never even been in the same room as Gilthanis Canaan before today." Tanis' expression darkens, not at you, but to the implications. "I know. Which means whatever he's seeing, whatever he's fighting, it isn't about the past." He looks back at Gilthanis, voice low and grim. "Actually, it is about the past. It's about what's coming." Justeris and Dalamar react. Behind you, Justeris steps forward, face pale. He's been repeating fragments like that since he arrived. The Red Robe says, "Names, warnings, promises, none of them make sense. They make perfect sense to whatever is inside him." Tanis rounds on him. "What does that mean?" "It means Gilthanis is not merely wounded, he is occupied. Something is speaking through him, something that knows Randall's name." He looks at you with unsettling intensity, and that should concern all of us. Serana stands just outside the alcove, arms crossed, expression unreadable. "Randall, I don't know why Gilthanas is calling for you, but I trust you. And if he thinks you're part of this, then you are. He looks back at his friend, floating, restrained, sweating, whispering your name like a prophecy. And we're going to find out why. Serana just stands outside the alcove, arms crossed, expression unreadable. But when Gilthanas said your name, her eyes narrowed, not in suspicion, in recognition, as if she's heard something like this before. If you want, okay. Speak to Gilthanas. Ask him how he knows you. You never met him. Be careful. Enraging Gilthanas, even unconscious, could prove unwise. After all, Gilthanas is a mage himself. You step closer to the suspended form of Gilthanas Canaan. Careful not to cross the faintly glowing boundary lines etched in the floor. The air inside the alcove feels thicker, like walking into a room where someone has been crying or praying or both. The magical tattoos across his arms and chest pulse in slow rhythmic waves, each one a reminder that this is not a simple healing magic. Tana stands beside you, tense as a bowstring. You swallow, steady yourself, and speak softly. Gilthanas, can you hear me? His head twitches, a bead of sweat rolls down his temple. My name is Randall. We've never met. How do you know me? For a moment, nothing happens. Then, Gilthanas' lips part. His voice is hoarse, ragged, but unmistakably intentional. Randall. Your name leaves his mouth like a curse and a plea tangled together. You were there. His fingers twitch against the invisible restraints. You were there when the light broke, when the sky tore open, when he... His breath catches and his back arches slightly as something inside him is pulling upward. Tana steps forward instinctively, but you lift a hand just enough to stow. You're still in control. You try again, voice steady. Gilthanas, I wasn't there. I've never met you. What are you seeing? What do you think I am? Who do you think I am? Gilthanas' eyes flutter beneath closed lids. Then he whispers, You're the one who survived him. Who? Gilthanas' voice cracks. The one who followed me back. His breathing quickens. The tattoos flare brighter. The force field hums louder. Careful. If he wakes too fast. Gilthanas isn't waking. He's remembering or reliving or being spoken through. The voice changes. Gilthanas' next words are not his voice. They are deeper, colder, layered like 2 or 3 voices speaking at once. You cannot hide from what you carry. You cannot hide what you carry. Your blood runs cold. Tana stiffens. You cannot hide what you carry. You cannot hide what you carry. Dalamar steps closer, eyes narrowing. Serana from the doorway goes still. Gilthanas' head lifts a fraction, just enough that you see the faintest glow behind his eyelids. Then the layered voice speaks again. We know you, Randall. Your heart pounds. We have always known you. The force field flickers, the tattoos pulse violently. Tanis pulls you back a step. Enough! We're not risking him breaking containment. Justeria gestures and the force field stabilizes with a crackling hum. Gilthanas slumps again, unconscious for whatever passes for it in this state. Silence falls. Tanis turns to you, face pale. You heard that. You did. It wasn't Gilthanas. Now, the moment you ask the question, who is there, the air in the alcove tightens like a drawn bowstring. Gilthanas' head jerks, his breath catches, and then, with a hiss that sounds far too lucid for a man in stasis, he spits the name. Raceland! The word slams into the chamber like a thrown dagger. Dalamar's hand snaps up, not in a spell but in pure visceral denial. No, absolutely not. His voice is cold, clamped and trembling at the edges. Palin and I both agree. The Shalafi is dead. This is nonsense. This is not the first time someone has claimed to see him, or hear him, or blame him. Try again. There's something brittle in his tone. Not arrogance, not dismissal. Fear. The kind only a former apprentice of Raceland Majir would ever understand. Tanis wheels on Dalamar, fury blazing in his eyes. Then believe what, Dalamar? That he's possessed? He's dying? He's being tortured by your magic? He jabs a finger toward Gilthanas, still suspended, still sweating, still trembling. Are you going to let him stay like this? Enough. Palin, who has been watching with a mixture of dread and determination, finally raises his staff. Enough. He speaks a soft incantation, gentle, rhythmic, almost like a lullaby. The runes along the force field shimmer, shift, and settle into a calmer pattern. Gilfanis' breathing slows, his trembling eases, the feverish tension in his limbs melts away, and then a faint smile touches his lips, barely there, barely real, but unmistakably peaceful. He whispers one word. Savara. The name drifts through the alcove like a memory of moonlight. Tanis's anger falters. Justerius closes his eyes in relief. Dalamar lowers his head, expression unreadable. Serana watches from the doorway still, her face softening for the first time, and you feel the weight of it. Gilfanis wasn't lying. He wasn't hallucinating. He wasn't rambling. He was remembering. Something real. Something terrible. Something that involved Raceland Majir, or something wearing his shadow. Okay. And this is what I said back. Tanis lets out a long, weary breath, the kind that carries 20 years of history, grief, and things left unsaid. He glances at Gilfanis, then at you, and the steps so closer so the mages can't overhear. The brazier crackles softly behind you. Pip just snores on the pony. Serana watches quietly, arms folded. The air feels heavy with memory. Tanis speaks. You've heard the name. Everyone has. Most people only know the stories, the legends, the warnings. He rubs the bridge of his nose as if remembering something painful. Raceland Majir was complicated, brilliant, dangerous. A red-robed mage who rose faster than anyone before him. Too fast. He pushed himself harder than any mortal should. And yes, he did join the Black Robes. Not allegedly, not rumored. He chose them. Chose the path of ambition, power, darkness. He looks toward Dalamar, who stiffens but says nothing. Dalamar was his apprentice, his shadow in a way. He knows more about Raceland's fall than any of us. Tanis turns back to you. But Raceland has been dead for 20 years. Dead and gone. Whatever Gilfanis saw, whatever he thinks he saw, it cannot be Raceland. He hesitates. But the fact that he said the name at all, that's what frightens them. People don't talk to Karaman about his brother. Not because Karaman is dangerous, he's not. He's gentle, loyal. But because Raceland's memory is a wound that never heals. Karaman watched his brother die. Watched him sacrifice himself to stop something far worse. Raceland's death wasn't just an ending. It was a seal, a barrier, a promise. Tanis's eyes narrow. And if Gilfanis is seeing Raceland, or something wearing Raceland's shape, then something is very, very wrong. Randall. Raceland Majir was the most dangerous mage to ever walk Kryn. If something is evoking his name, if something is echoing his presence, it isn't coincidence. He glances back at Gilfanis, now calm, whispering Sovara in a faint, peaceful tone. Whatever followed Gilfanis back, whatever is inside him, it knows you and it knows Raceland. Tanis' voice drops to a whisper. And that terrifies me more than anything the Conclave has said. If you want, Randall can ask Tanis what Raceland did to make him so feared. Ask Dalamar directly why he reacted so violently. Ask Palin what he knows of Raceland's death. Or ask Serana why he recognized the name. Ask Tanis what Raceland did that made him so feared. Did he really have hourglass pupils with gold irises? Tanis doesn't answer right away. He stands there in the shimmering half-light of the alcove, watching Gilfanis breathing slowly, and when he finally speaks, it's with the tone of someone who's carried the story for far too long. He turns slightly toward you. Power. What made Raceland feared? Power. Not the kind most mages chose, not spells or tricks or clever illusions. Raceland Majir understood magic the way a starving man understands hunger. It consumed him, drove him, shaped him. He folds his arms, and he was willing to pay any price for it. Tanis' voice lowers. He killed to earn his test. He nearly died taking it. And when he survived, he came out changed, not just in body, in soul. The hourglass eyes. Okay. You asked the question everyone whispers about. Did he really have hourglass pupils with gold irises? Tanis nods once. Yes, he did. He looks away, remembering. The test marked him. The gods, or whatever force judged him, gave him those eyes so he would see the world as it truly is. Everything aging, everything dying, everything decaying, every moment slipping away. He shakes his head. Imagine living like that. Seeing every person you meet as a candle burning down, seeing every tree, every stone, every breath as something already fading. Tannis' voice softens. It made him brilliant, and it made him dangerous. Raceland wasn't feared because he was cruel. He was feared because he was inevitable, because he saw the world's end in everything, and he believed he could outrun it. He glanced toward Dalamar. He challenged gods. He defied fate. He walked into the abyss, and he died sealing away something far worse than himself. Tannis looks back at you. That's why people fear him. Not because he was evil, but because he was willing to go farther than anyone else. And Gilthanas speaking his name now, 20 years after Raceland's death, means something is wrong. Something is stirring. Something that remembers him. He places a hand on your shoulder. And something that knows you. Okay. Then I talk to Palin. Okay. Tannis steps back, giving you room to approach Palin. The young mage, Raceland's nephew, has been watching the exchange with a tight, worried expression. When you turn to him and ask gently, "What do you know of Raceland's final days?" he exhales as if he's been waiting for someone to ask that exact question. He grips his staff a little tighter, except you realize he isn't holding the staff of Magius. And that's exactly where his explanations begins. Palin speaks of Raceland's end. Palin's voice is quiet, respectful, and tinged with something like awe. "I know what my father told me," he begins, "and what the orders recorded and what the staff itself has shown me." He glances toward the empty space beside him, as if expecting something to be there. Raceland died sealing away a threat that would have destroyed Kryn. He died willingly, alone, and he died for us. He swallows, but death didn't end everything he touched. Palin continues, lowering his voice so Dalamar and Justarius can't overhear. "When I was younger, the staff of Magius appeared to me. Not given, not delivered, it simply appeared." He gestures with his hands, mimicking the shape of the staff. "Leaning against my bed, resting beside my chair, standing in the corner of my study, always close, always watching." You blink. "Watching?" "Yeah. The staff has a mind of its own, a presence, a preference." He gives a small, helpless shrug. "I don't command it. I don't even own it. It comes and goes as it pleases. It disappears, it returns, always. I've set it down on a table, turned around, and found it gone. I've left it in my chambers, only to discover it leaning against a tree outside the tower. Once it vanished for 3 months. And then one morning, it was waiting for me beside my breakfast plate. Why? I don't know. I don't think anyone knows, not even Dalamar. The staff chooses where it wants to be and who it wants to be near." He looks at you, then really looks. "And lately, it's been restless." "Do you think it's connected to Raceland's final days?" "Yeah. The staff is tied to him, to his legacy, to his magic. And it's moving on its own if it's seeking something." His eyes drift toward Gilthanas, floating pale, whispering Silvara's name in a dream. Then something from Raceland's past may be stirring again. And if Gilthanas spoke Raceland's name, then whatever followed him back may not be done with us. You turn toward Dalamar. He's been standing perfectly still, too still ever since Gilthanas spoke Raceland's name. His posture is rigid, his expression carved from obsidian, and his eyes haven't left the suspended elf for more than a heartbeat. When you approach, he doesn't look at you first, but when you speak quietly, carefully, his gaze snaps to yours. "Dalamar, what do you sense around him?" The black robe's eyes narrow, and for a moment you see the full weight of the mage he once served reflected there. Fear, pride, and a razor-sharp instinct for danger. He answers slowly. "There is a presence. Not a spirit, not a possession in the traditional sense. Something imprinted, something that clings." He steps closer to the force field, hands clasped behind his back. "It is not Raceland. I would know. I would feel him like a knife at my throat. I would feel him. I would know if he was there. But whatever touched Gilthanas, whatever followed him back, It carries an echo of the Shalafi's magic. Tana stiffens. Balin looks sharply at Dalamar. Serrano's eyes narrow. You feel a chill crawl up your spine. It is like standing in a room where Raistlin once cast a spell. The air remembers, the walls remember, the magic remembers. He gestures toward Gilthanas, and he remembers, even if he does not understand what he saw. There is a residue of something ancient, something hungry, something that should not exist. And it knows your name. Dalamar studies your face, searching for something, fear, recognition, weakness. Whatever he sees, he doesn't comment. I do not believe Raistlin has returned, but I do believe something has learned from him, or stolen from him, or inherited something he left behind. He steps back, cloak whispering across the stone, and that is far more dangerous. Dalamar, Dana says, can you help him? I can try, but understand this. If I am correct, then Gilthanas is not merely wounded. He is a doorway, and something has already stepped through. Alright. Tanis, but this is what I wrote. Now, there was actually explained earlier. You didn't see this part, but okay. The crater back in Abyssinia, and they will return to Abyssinia. All right? Now, whatever brought Gilthanas back came from the sky. It was described as a silver orb. It made landfall and left Gilthanas before zipping back into the clouds. The crater left behind the craft is nearly spherical in diameter. It was burned out by the surface of solid rock. It did not burn Gilthanas. Tanis barely has time to process Dalamar's denial or Palin's quiet dread before he stares forward. Rob's whispering, face set in that brittle, too calm expression mages wear when they're terrified but pretending they are. He clears his throat. Enough speculation. We must investigate the crater. The room stills. Even Dalamar looks up sharply. Serrano's eyes narrow. Tanis turns towards Sorley, the red robe. What crater? Justeric sails as if he's been waiting for the moment someone forced. He does know about the crater, but for some reason they didn't tell him. Whatever brought Gilthanas back, he says, did not walk. It did not fly. It fell. He gestures with two fingers, tracing a downward arc. Witnesses described it as a silver orb, smooth, seamless, glowing faintly. It descended from the clouds, made landfall, and deposited Gilthanas. Deposited? Yes. It left him, gently, as if placing him on the ground, and then it shot back into the sky. A silver orb. Not a spell, not a summoned creature, not a construct I recognize. And it left a crater. Justerius nods again. A perfectly spherical one, as if a giant sphere had pressed itself into the stone. The rock was burned away in a flawless circle, smooth as glass. Burned? Then why wasn't Gilthanas? He wasn't burned. Not even singed, because the crater was cold. Cold? Cold as winter steel. Cold enough that frost formed around the edges. The plainsmen who found him said the ground steamed, not from heat, but from the sudden absence of it. Serrano mutters under her breath, that is not natural. Justerius continues. The plainsmen found Gilthanas lying in the center, unconscious, breathing shallowly, tattoos glowing. No wounds, no burns, no frostbite. The tattoos were obviously put there by Gilthanas. Something cut into him, and it was to protect him. So it was something he used to keep him alive. Magic. Maybe he was cut by an astral cord. Maybe a Githyanki astral sword or some shit. I don't know. He pauses, and no footprints, no tracks, no sign of anything else. So the conclave was already following this thing? We had reports of strange lights in the sky, magical disturbances, a ripple in the weave. We were tracking it. And when the plainsman sent word of a fallen elf in a cold crater, we knew. He looks at Gilthanas, now calm, whispering Silvar's name. We knew it was connected. Dalamar speaks softly. A silver orb that descends from the sky, leaves no heat, and returns to the clouds. That is not magic, not as we understand it. And the staff of Magus reacted when we approached the crater. It hummed, it vibrated, it recognized something. Recognized what? I don't know, but whatever it wasn't from Kryn. So he took the staff, and for some reason the staff disappeared later. Okay. Okay, and then it asked me to recap everything. Alright, venture recap. Key points so far. You're northern Ergoth, but not in any known settlement that you know of. You're actually in the caverns beneath the Scriborium. The Conclave is using an ancient pre-cataclysm sanctuary they did not build. Okay. You'll find us condition. The Surret device. She's not a plains trader. Yep. Yep. Silver orb. All this. Yep. Number 6, Racial Magir's name. Gilthanas hissed Racial when he asked who was there. Yep. Well, he was given it by Raceland initially, but it appears and reappears in this story right here. Okay? And there's a reason why it's doing that. Yep. All right, guys. What you think? What you think? Okay? What do you think? Pretty cool, huh? All right, hold on just a second here, y'all. And we're going to take a little bit of a break. Been going a little bit. Oh, we've been going an hour and 52 minutes. Wow. I didn't believe. Time flies when you're having fun. Holy jeez. Jeez Louise. Oh, my gosh. Okay, well, hold on just a second here, guys. And we'll get some stuff together here in a moment. Let me see here. I want to check this again. Let me see if I can get it to go all the way back to the original thing. It was a long thread. Okay, I want to cover the Sankrist Embassy in Balfour Common. Yeah, I'm gonna do this too. Here we go. Here we go. Yes, I'm gonna cover this in just a second. We're gonna take a break, and we got some more to cover here, guys, because this was the earlier part of the thread and the information that I fed into it. Okay. Now they talk about Balfour Common is completely separate to this orb that has come down. Okay, so remember this. Okay, all right. Okay. Okay, he didn't even know about the Spelljammer crash, so he doesn't really know it's a Spelljammer. Okay. Actually, the orb is not a Spelljammer at all. It's something completely different. It's a ship, but it's not what you think. I'm not gonna tell you. But anyway, hold on a minute, guys. I'm gonna flip over here just a second. Okay, I'm gonna let you look at some of this here, guys. Hold on just a second. Let me put it back on the scriborium here. Okay. All right. This was earlier in the adventure. Okay. This is what I had literally put in. Okay. This is what I wrote. Okay. You can read it. It ain't no big deal. You can see it. Okay. Now, this is what the AI told me when I put it out here. Okay. Before we go any further, here's what your characters know and what they absolutely do not know about Spelljammers. When you do AI, you have to give the AI the information in the rules. So it doesn't type something up that has the character doing something it's not supposed to. Okay? You have to give it the backstory. Alright? Spelljammers are not common knowledge on Krynn. The average person on Krynn has never seen or heard of spelljammers. Even educated nobles, wizards, and knights have no concept of spacefaring ships or other worlds. The idea of people from the sky is treated like madness, heresy, or drunken rambling. The Conclave erases knowledge of spelljammers. Anyone who does learn the truth, even by accident, is quietly handled by the Conclave of Wizards. This usually means memory alteration, magical compulsion, or being sworn to silence under threat. The Conclave considers spelljammer knowledge a world-threatening secret. Talking about aliens or sky ships is dangerous. If your character open says things like, I saw a ship fall from the stars, there's people from other worlds, silver orb is some kind of alien craft, you will be treated as delusional, cursed, a danger, or someone who needs to be reported to the nearest wizard or priest. This can lead to arrest, interrogation, magical silencing, or simply being shunned. Or worse, in-world explanation to the people of Krynn, a fallen star is a divine omen, not a spacecraft. A silver orb is a magical artifact, not a pod. Strange beings are spirits, dragons, or sorcery, not aliens. Even Tanis, Lorana, Flint, or Raceland before his test would not recognize a spelljammer for what it is. Not immediately, anyway. I think Raceland would. Raceland is smart enough to figure out a cell phone. I'm pretty sure that Raceland is smart enough to figure out a smartphone. He could do it. Mm-hmm. Alright. Tanis does not know the Crass Vessel is a spelljammer. The Sankrist Embassy does not know. The Plainsmen do not know. The letter's author from Lady Blackbriar, that's who sent Tanis the letter that he needed to go check this out at Red Brush Crossing. Okay. Only that was terrifying. Okay. Okay. Alright, now this is me talking about Balfour Common. Okay, now I had to feed this into there, okay? This talks about Asher Damaris and Pez and all that shit and the Whitestone Council. Okay? Alright, now. Theros Ironfeld is currently in northern Urgoth. Okay, he was given a state. Okay? Alright. Tanis interrupts their Krynn style. Magic, he murmurs, the gods are both. He taps the letter. A ship falling from the heavens, crushing a draconian cult, and the plainsmen calling it a sign. That sounds like something the gods would do when they're feeling dramatic. Pipsy nods enthusiastic. Oh yes, the gods love drama, especially the sparkly ones. Tanis gives her a look but doesn't disagree. He continues speaking to you, the hireling, as much to himself. Whatever this ship was, it wasn't a vessel like those in Palanthas or Karagoth, more like a divine hammer, a piece of the heavens torn loose. And the locals in Urgoth built a whole town around it. Of course they did. People will settle anywhere if you give them a story and a place to plant potatoes. Okay. Balfour Common as Tanis understands it. Tanis recounts the rest of the letter, summarizing in his own grounded native Krynn way. A massive object fell from the sky 40 years ago. It obliterated a draconian occult attempting a catastrophic ritual. The wreckage became a curiosity, then a pilgrimage site, then a boomtown. The locals crowned a hero, Trapsfinger Furfoot, a kinder legend even Tanis has heard of. His wife, Damaris Metlinger, claimed they found the ship or lunitary using magic bracelets. I wrote this, okay? I wrote this. The AI did not come up with this. I wrote that. Their daughter, Astrid Damaris, was born the moment the object fell. I had to enter this stuff in, so I wrote this. The AI did not come up with this. Okay, the AI is not necessarily that smart. Okay, the Sankrist Embassy in Northern Urgoth politics. Okay, the Sankrist Embassy established on lands granted to Theros Ironfeld by Emperor Makati Heretic III. Theros never wanted titles, but he earned them. And if he's hosting Gunthar and the Emperor both, then this matter is more delicate than I realized. He folds the letter again more tightly this time. Theros doesn't trust Makati or Gunthar pretends not to, and if both are uneasy, then something is stirring in Urgoth courts. He glances toward the window where sleet still lashes the glass, and now Gilphanus is involved. He tells her that we're going to leave at dawn, okay? And I had the thing about the And then I had a dice game. And see, I asked it to generate me some scores. So what did they do? They generated me some scores. They sure did. Pretty cool, huh? And that's just using Microsoft Copilot. Sometimes you have to be specific, but guys, AI is a tool. You cannot really expect it to do everything. But like I said, for little things when you get bored, it's not that bad. Okay? Granted, you wouldn't want to use this as a final product to sell somebody. But, I mean, if you're bored and you ain't got nobody to play with, I mean, this is pretty darn cool. When I found this out the other night and got to fiddling with it, I was like, well, I'll be darned. This ain't too bad. But I'm not going fully AI. I'll tell you that right now. Okay? There's no need for me to do that. Okay? Yeah. And see? This is me asking the questions. See? And this is what they gave me for my fighter. The name Randall came from a book called Circle of Magic. They were a bunch of young adult books about a young mage, and the character's name was Randall. That's why I call him Randall. It has nothing to do with that goofball that was shot them people up in Hollybrook. That was horrible shit. I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know anything about that fella, and I didn't know that his name was Randall Smith. That's really screwed up. But no, there was a guy that murdered a bunch of people on the Appalachian Trail whose name was Randall Smith. It was actually local to where I live. Well, not where I live, but it's about 40 miles from where I live. But still, it was pretty bad. It was a murder on the Appalachian Trail. Everybody thought that I'd named the character Randall from Southern Gothic that because of that. No, I did not. That guy got out of prison and he shot somebody else. And then they found him dead because somebody killed him. I don't know. It was messy. Messy, 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 messy. That guy was deeply disturbed. It was screwed up. No, read the book Murder on the Appalachian Trail back in the 80s. It was... They caught him in Blaine County, unfortunately. Yep. But I don't mess with none of that. Like I said, the name Randall came from Circle of Magic, is where it came from. Okay. But this is what I got right here. It's not bad, not bad, not bad at all. And what I did was, okay, I'd played a dice game, okay, and what I did was I told them the rules, right here, this is what I wrote, okay, and then, look at that, and I played a whole entire game against this lady, see? And just that little bit of information, it played off the information that I gave it. And this is when it got interesting. See, Serrana wasn't even a character yet. And then she became a character as we played. Yeah. And I played a dice game with her. Sure did. Yes. Just like blackjack. Very cool. Very cool. Not bad at all. All right, guys. It clicked off on me. Darn it. It did that. All right, whatever. I don't care. Wow, we've been going a while. Okay. We've been going a while. Yes, we have. All right, guys. Yeah, it's 2 hours, 5 minutes, 13 seconds. Yeah, we've been going. We've been going a little bit. All right, I want to thank, if I hadn't mentioned it before, occasionally it tells me people that have subscribed in the past 2 days. I'm sorry if I haven't given you a shout out for subscribing. If you subscribed and I didn't mention you, I'll go back and look and see who has subscribed. Guys, I'm not in the best of shape. I am not in good shape at all. I'm about 113 pounds right now. I'm not looking good at all. But I do want to thank you all for tuning in. Let me see if I can switch this toward my. I'm okay. It's just that. Let me turn this around. I hope I can turn this around and the camera won't freeze on me. If it does, I'm sorry. I think I'm okay. Yep. Just let you know I'm okay. I'm thin. Yeah, buddy. I'm skeleton thin. I look like shit right now. Guys, I'm trying to hang on. I've been sick. I had some surgery. Little odds and ends like that. So, yeah, I'm about 113 pounds. I'm not looking too good. But, guys, don't worry too much about me. You can be worried, but hell, I'm worried. What else is new? But thank you all for tuning in. I'm still working on my DragonLance stuff. I'm doing my Fallout stuff, little odds and ends like that. I'm trying to get myself back healthy. I got to get my teeth fixed. I'm ready for that. I just got off the antibiotic. I've got an infusion coming up on the 6th. It's one day at a time. Whatever it is, it's like a virtual game of whack-a-mole. What the hell can I do? But anyways, guys, thank you all for tuning in. It's been fun. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'll try to get back on and do some more stuff like this later. Okay? Alright, guys. But this has been Engine Joe. And like I said, check out some of my DragonLance stuff on YouTube. I've got a whole bunch of that. And it's not AI. Okay? I'll use AI to read it. But most of the DragonLance stuff that I write is all written by me. This stuff right here is the only thing that I tried that was written by AI. I don't use AI. I'm not going to use AI. Okay, it's something that's good for conceptual and it's a means to an end, but it's a form of shorthand. Okay. All right, guys, be good. Don't worry so much about me being so thin. I'll be okay. I'm up and I'm walking, but like I said, I'm very, very thin. So it's kind of a up and down for me. My cataract's gotten worse, little odds and ends like that. All right, guys. We're going to be okay. All right, guys. This is Engine Joe. Y'all roll on.